Hello, everybody. Welcome to this very special episode of Archives Live. I am really pleased to have Ryan Hawkins here, and I will be introducing him in a few minutes. But of course, there's the obligatory welcome and all of the announcements. First of all, I want to thank everyone that participated in all of the last week events. This was Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Giving Tuesday, and all, and you all were really generous, and I so appreciate it. So please, thank you so much. We hear a little bit of you in the background, Ryan. um, yeah, so I really want to thank you, and please don't forget to like our page and like this video and continue to donate. We are working on repairing all of our synthesizers at the Record Co. They're all, not all, but a lot of them are now in various states of getting tuned up and this and that. All right, so a couple of other things. Just want to reintroduce one of our newest post additions. This is our poster, the original poster that graced the basement of my childhood. And I'm not able to find it I think I found one for $500 that was sold already. So with cooperation from Pete Townsend and his group, I've redesigned this poster. We have two models so far. This is a Giclée print. This is a chromatic metal print. So they're both really lovely, and they are on sale. So think about that. And then finally, there's been a lot of love about this image. So if you think you'd like to have this image as a poster, go ahead and say something in the chat and like that. There are so many people I can't say hi right now, but I want to say hi, Rick Rieger, Paul, Richard Hilton, hey Cynthia, James Dyson, Synth Addict, so many people. I will try to get to you shortly. But anyway, um, let's go ahead and bring in Ryan. Hold on a second. Here we go. Hey,
Hey,
hey
how you
Ryan.
doing?
So this is Ryan Hawkins. We met in a really interesting way, and part of that story is the story of the Blue Marvin. And so we'll be talking about that in a moment. But Ryan also was kind enough to loan uh, us this lovely synthesizer behind him, the Blue Marvin. And yep. And the story of that is pretty remarkable, but he lent it to us while we were at Synthplex. A few of you I met in person there a couple months ago, and I think you got in over your head because you thought you were just going to show up for a day or so, and you never left. I don't think.
Yeah, I was there the entire time. It was a marathon. It was fun though. It was a good time. I'm,
It
I'm
was a
glad
great
it
time.
worked out. Yeah.
It was a really wonderful time. I'm not sure if he's in the audience. I just want to do a shout out if Ollie Freak, who is the author of Synth Evolution, is out in the audience. I'm wearing the shirt, even though I gave it to my husband. I took it back for the show, um, and uh, and like that. Alrighty. So I want to say a couple of things about the Blue Meanie, or Blue Marvin, I should say. And I know that the terms seem somewhat interchangeable, which is why um, I named the story of the Blue Meanie, not Weenie Marvin. Um, so this was the first 2600 that I had ever seen. So of course I have a personal love for it. It was made, there's a rumor or mystique that it was built in a garage, in a basement, and there's some truth to that, but in reality, it was built here. This is Kenneth Street, 45 Kenneth Street in Newton Highlands, Massachusetts. And this is how it looks now, which is exactly how it looked then, minus some of the hardware outside. And to see the inside of what Kenneth Street looked like, white cinder blocks, no heat, which is why my dad's bundled up. It was analogous to a garage and the like. Um, Here's my dad with my colorized version of that. So this was the first uh, 2600 that I had seen. And what makes this important is that while it's gone on to be mysterious because there's so few of them, precious and beautiful because of the color, it was actually a prototype of what many of you use today as the 2600. So I invite you all at some point to take a listen to Bright Sparks by G Voice and I Monster, wonderful movie, and you can hear what my dad has to say, and also about what one of the major electronic engineers there had to say, and that was Dennis Cullen. And let's see, I got a picture of him here. There we go. All right, I think we lost Ryan. There you are.
My bad.
We lost you for a second.
Think I'm back.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about. First of all, I want to get a little background on you because it takes an extraordinary individual to fly out to the opposite coast to pick up a synthesizer. So let's talk about how
Yeah.
you got into synthesizers in the first place.
How I got into them. Sorry, it's cutting out a little bit.
We have some freezing action going on here. Hmm. Okay. Hi, everyone. Well, I'm going to say hi to everybody for a second while we wait for Ryan. Ryan, I don't know if you can. It's freezing a little bit, or it's freezing a lot. We don't hear you. So I'm going to say hi to everybody else. Hey, Jim Glue. We got people from the UK. We have people from Texas. Patience, he says. I will try to be patient. All right. Let's see if we can do it. Are you back?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, hold on. Let me turn off. Uh, I'm turning off a bunch of other Wi-Fi stuff to see if it's my Wi-Fi. Okay.
Okay.
Where was I?
Oh, so I wanted to know how you got to a place where a synthesizer like this would be important enough to fly. Tell us about your early
Ah,
music life and how you got into synthesizers.
yeah, sure. I mean, it all started in high school. I liked a lot of bands that used synthesizers, a lot of early alternative music from the 70s and 80s, and I wanted those instruments. And this was probably early 2000s when I started.
Hmm. We didn't have this much trouble when we did a couple of rehearsals, everyone. So I think what it is, Ryan, if you can hear me, I think it's the cell phone rather than the computer because we had no problems with the computer. If you can hear me. Yeah, because streaming over Wi-Fi, I always use a hard connection here. Um, anyway, I'll talk about the shirt. A couple of people are mentioning this shirt. Um, if you go to Synth Evolution's website, I think the name of the manufacturer was a collaboration. He won this image won a contest about a month and a half ago. It's called We Are of 100. It's in UK. We are in, I don't know if you could read that. We Are of 100 Company UK. Um, and it's a hand silk screened, and of course you can see it really emulates those hand painted letters that Margaret Shepherd did. Ryan, I think it's because you're on Wi-Fi and not a hard connection. We didn't have this problem with the computer.
Um, well, we didn't have this problem when we were live. Yeah, I'm not really sure how to fix that.
All right, well, let's just keep our fingers crossed. So far, so good. We'll keep our fingers crossed. Yeah. If you have another, if you maybe if you have an auxiliary, maybe having a computer on at the same time is taking some bandwidth away. Anyway, let's get back to you because I've been babbling here, try to fill this the air.
Sure.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about your early synthesizer life. You were a collector? You were.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know what you caught because I've been talking, but it started in high school, and back then you could get stuff for really cheap, just because 20 years ago, not a lot of people were into synthesizers and stuff from the 70s or 80s. The bands that I liked back then used synthesizers, so I wanted to make the sounds that they were using, and started off with like getting a DX7 or something and fixing a scratchy pot or a broken key, and just snowballed to the point where, uh, 20 years on, I've learned how to pretty much fix most of them, and have repaired most of the different models. It's part of the fun for me is like not only playing the instruments, but a lot of dusty corners and bring them back to life. It's like a multifaceted interest. So yeah.
But how did you learn how to fix them? I mean, that's no small task, especially analog.
It really just started with like cleaning dirty pots or cleaning a key contact, stuff where you slowly open it up for the first time. You're like, I don't know what's going on in here. And then after that, you learn how to test a power supply, or you learn to like just start doing little tiny things, and you continuously chip away at like um, growing your knowledge base on what the components are in a synthesizer, what they do, how they interact, how to troubleshoot. Reading schematics and service manuals is a great way to learn. Like even just reading the ARC 2600 service manual or the Prophet 5 service manual is another great one. Just learning all that you can about them, and that's pretty much it. Like it's really not. It's just I've been doing it for so long that you just learn over the years, and I've broken stuff along the way, but at the same time, when I was cutting my teeth, a lot of these instruments were next to nothing. Like Juno 60s were like $100 all day long, broken on Craigslist. So, if you messed one up, it wasn't that big of a deal. It's harder to do that now because everybody, even for broken gear, everybody's looking for it.
So you've been scouring the boards, or do they come to you? I know. Did you? Uh, how do you obtain these? Is it the same way you got the Blue Meanie, or is it all different, or how does it work?
No, the Blue Marvin, that was a unique way that uh, I got in touch with Nicholas for that one. But most of them, they're either like online forums, Craigslist, OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace, word of mouth. I have people that will shoot me DMs and stuff and say like, "Hey, I've got this broken thing. Do you want it?" Or after a while, you just start knowing who everybody is in the synth community, and stuff just kind of floats around. And honestly. Uh, Kind of shout out to Rob Rosen. He just did like a sale of some of his broken gear like earlier this week, and those were some of the best deals I've seen on broken gear in a while. So,
Oh
uh,
yes,
yeah,
oh yes. I went to one of those sales recently, and I saw
yeah, he gets overloaded, and then he'll sell the smaller items that are broken that need work, and that's a great way to learn. Is if you find something like that where he's doing a sale and it's like a couple $100 for a pretty nice analog synth, worth worth trying to fix it yourself, I guess, or learning how to, you know.
taking apart things is the best way to fix them, I find, and that's exactly what my dad used to
Yep.
do. You know, the story of his taking apart a radio when he was 4, and then he ran away from home because he thought he was going to get in trouble. Um, but he was able
Not,
he was able to put it back together at 4. But that's That's indicative of the kind of guy he was. So let's talk about the Blue Marvin specifically. I know that
Sure.
my first knowledge of that this existed was that I got a couple of almost almost frantic emails from people saying, Dina, there's a Blue Marvin in New Jersey, and they had
Yeah.
read it on Reddit. They'd seen it on Reddit.
Yeah, that Reddit post that Nick started, I mean, it kind of spread like wildfire pretty quickly, and people were DMing me about it because, they just know I restore stuff. And then I saw it myself just being on Reddit. And then I think a lot of people thought he was like trolling. He was just like trolling Reddit because a lot of people would be like, hey, look what I found in the dumpster. And it was like such an unbelievable thing that he's like, hey, look what I have, this dusty old synthesizer. Does anybody know anything about it? Because I'm thinking about selling it. Like that was kind of the gist of his post. And um, it was a unique situation that to how he even got it. So I saw the Reddit post, and I hit him up because somebody told him to reach out to me, so we connected, and I just started talking to him about it. Um, and yeah, that's how I found out about it. Same way you did.
Very nice. Yeah. So I had a couple of conversations um, with both Nick and one of our board members, and then we had a conversation with Ryan. And one of the really lovely things about how this all worked out is that Ryan said, well, I'm going to rebuild it, take care of it, and I'm going to let the foundation use it from time to time, and uh, people say a lot of nice things, but when I called you up saying, "Hey, I'm going to be on the West Coast," and you're like, "Hey, sure, I'm going to be there." It was an amazing moment for me. I have not seen one of these face to face. I
I
haven't
was
touched one in 50 years.
I was happy to do it, and kudos to Nick because that was his big thing with this. Is once he started learning about it, he quickly learned how important it was to, I guess, electronic music history in general. So one of his big things with whoever ended up with it, he wanted to make sure that it was being shown to the public, either in a museum or exhibits, or in our case, what's worked out really well is working with the foundation because I think it's a great talking piece. A lot of people haven't seen him in person, and I just was trying to hold up my end of the bargain. And I said, yes, if I get this, I will make sure that it's not locked away in some cabinet to not be shown to the public or shown to people. So yeah, I have no problem jumping on here and talking about it and letting people play with it and doing that as much as I can or as much as it the stars align at least. So
That was a great time at Synthplex. Can we? I'm going to play the little clip you took of Nick. So I just uh, as the
yeah,
story
sure.
continues, after Ryan made contact with Nick, you said you would come out to New Jersey to take it and bring it back.
Yeah, I was really afraid of shipping it, and so was he. I was like, don't even try to ship this thing, um, because it's such a delicate piece, even compared to normal 2600s. I mean, those are ready for the road, but this one's extremely delicate, and the case wasn't held together, and he had wires sticking out of it and everything. So I was like, don't try to package that up. I'll just fly to you, get it in person, and then I carried it on the plane with me. I bought a plain seat for the instrument and wrapped it in bubble wrap so I didn't have to throw it in down underneath the plane.
All right, so
So
let's take a quick look.
Blue Marvin, Nicholas.
It's real.
It's real, yeah. No one believed it, but anyway, so tell us about yourself.
I'm Nick Tomasi. I got this 3 years ago from a random guy in a post office. I walked in getting a guitar part, struck up a conversation. The guy was moving, gave me a bunch of free studio equipment. This was one of the things. Sat up on a shelf for 3 years, and finally thought, I felt guilty. I was like, I knew it was something special from the little bit of research I did, but kind of forgot about it, sat on the side, and eventually I was just like, I gotta post something, see if it gets anything. Oh,
What do you know about the guy that you bought it off of?
nothing.
Nothing?
I know his first name. His first name was David. That's
David?
all I have on him.
And did he say anything about what he did with it, or like what his history with it was, or how long you had it?
He just made me promise not to throw it out. Said it was worth something to the right person, but he didn't have the time to find the right person.
Yeah, and he was moving, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was moving to Florida, I believe.
Into Florida. All right. I'm trying to think if there's anything else interesting. So it was basically just sat in your basement for 3 years, collecting a good amount of dust.
Yeah.
But overall, it's in good shape. And, you know, considering you not knowing what it really was, you did a good job of not completely like destroying it or anything, you know. So
yeah, I'm happy I didn't try to restore it, because that was my original plan.
Yeah, I think you made a good call. All right, anything else you want to add? No? Okay, cool.
Wow.
Yeah, Nick's a great guy too. Like him and I started talking a lot around that time, and I'm glad the way that he went about taking this thing that he didn't know much about and having it end up in a situation where now it's, you know, helping with the foundation work and it's, you know, actively being used. I think it's good on him for like making sure it ended up doing something. So yeah.
Cool. So I want to the sequencer show and tell. I think that would be a great place to start.
Sure.
So tell us about this little clip that I'm about to show.
Okay, yeah. I mean, if anybody ever sees me on Instagram, I guess one of the main things that I post, I don't post that much these days for some reason, but is little clips of just, you know, sequencing random synths together in a live setting. And one of the questions that I get the most from people is like, how are you getting all these instruments talking together? How are you sequencing them? Like, what's your MIDI routing look like? Basically those type of questions. So the way that I do it is actually pretty simple. It's kind of like an old way of doing it, which is I just advance sequencers and arpeggiators by drum triggers. And this clip kind of explains that. I mean, what comes out of it doesn't sound that great, but it's more of a demonstration of, you know, how it works. So.
All right, let's give it a run.
Okay, quick rundown on how I sequence everything, because that's usually the question I get the most of how do I sequence, how do I get everything talking and everything working live together. I think what will probably surprise most people is that most of this equipment does not have MIDI. Some have CV and gate control, but a lot of them have arpeggiators and sequencers that can be advanced with triggers. And that's usually how I clock everything. So the whole rig is pretty simple. I have master clock coming off of Ableton, going to a couple of MIDI through boxes. I think so. I have 16 MIDI through channels coming out, and anything that can receive MIDI gets that through signal, such as my Arturia, my beat step, drum machines, stuff like that. And then what I do is I use the beat steps drum triggers to advance the sequencers and arpeggiators on these synths. So I'll give you a quick example of how that kind of works. So let's say on this synth has a great little sequencer. Easy sequence, right? First we'll put a program into it. Here we'll just make it easy and do 16 steps like that. See, pretty simple. You can do and same thing with this. I use the arpeggiator. Same thing on this guy. I'm just doing the same chord for all of them just to show you how it works. Doesn't sound good, but I think you get it. See, it's all clogged here. Okay, so then I think you understand what's going on there. And then I mainly use this key step to control my 2600s. So this has 4 channels of CV and gate out, and I have 3 of them going to each of these 2600s. For instance, let me just see, then this will be the so those are those 2 going. One of my all-time favorite sequencers down here. So just put in a step sequence there. Sounds like shit, but we'll fix it. See? And why do I like doing this? Is because you can separate the rhythm from the notes, which is great for, I guess, techno, dance music, all that kind of stuff. Because you can really change All right, that's basically it. I can't tell. Sorry, it was really it was breaking up for me, so I don't know
No, it
how
was
much of that.
great. No, I think it's interesting because we got it all. We got it all, and
Oh,
everyone's loving it a lot. They want to see a slow pan of the studio, so I promised them that that's coming shortly.
yeah, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, wow. Wow, yeah, I think people want you to uh, move next to them so they can try your stuff out. So people say, "Will you be my neighbor?" There's some really fun comments coming up. You'll have to go back and look at these comments.
You know what's funny is
Fantastic.
I don't know anybody that lives within 45 minutes of me that comes over and just plays these. So yeah, I need more friends, I guess. But
Oh gosh. Well, a lot of people here in the UK, so it's a bit smaller. You could go there and you'll have a lot of friends. There you go.
Yes,
Oh, good.
yes.
Great to see a lot of the Pro Synth Network people are here. This is excellent. All right, thank you all for coming. Um, yeah, so you know what? Let's go right into the. Let's see if we can get that studio tour to work. And let's see.
Sure.
Yeah, we were having some issues earlier, but let's see what happens. Yeah, people are really getting very excited. All right, let's see. We have the studio tour.
All right, let's do a quick tour of a lot of synthesizers. Let's start over here. CS50, Mirage, Roland SH1000, Crumar Performer. Unfortunately, the CS50 doesn't work because I had to use it to fix the CS80, those pesky IG chips. Hey, someone needs to make new ones. Here's a 3.2 Prophet 5 Classic Oberheim OB8, supposedly used on Steve Roach's first album before he bought his own. Don't know if that's true. Octave Cat, love the Octave Cat. Probably one of my first restorations that I attempted to do, and you can tell a lot of little mistakes. There's a Moog Opus somewhere back there. Jupiter 8, a classic. Trident MK2, don't see those very often. Great instrument, it's like a giant Poly 6, basically. And those chords with the SSMs are very nice. Juno 60, that's kind of my first analog polysynth. My uncle gave it to me. I think he checks prices every once in a while, and he's kind of like kicking himself a little bit. But at the time, this was 20 years ago. They were like $100 back then. A Blue Pro 1, I bought it like this. I didn't like the blue. I thought the blue was not that great, and I was originally going to like try to get it back to black, but everybody else always asks about it, so it's kind of turned into a staple. I don't have the heart to change it back now. Monopoly, great synthy. That's a classic. Probably one of the most unique synths ever. I just don't use it very much. It takes a while to dial it in. Got some MPCs, EMU Emulator 1 down here, very dusty. I got this thing working perfectly and I buttoned it up and then turned it on a week later and it stopped working again. So I got mad at it. There's a Freeman Symphonizer down there underneath those guitar pedals. That is a really, really nice string instrument. Definitely worth looking into. It's just freaking gigantic. Let's see, since we're down here on this rack, here's an interesting piece, a 4AT F16 drum sampler. Don't really see those too often. A very sad DSX that I probably have taken every single part out to fix something else in here. MKS 80, classic. Synkey, don't see those very often. I think Zappa was probably the only person known for using them. There's a microcore, not a microcore, micro Moog down there. JX3P, probably one of my most important synths ever, mainly because of the sequencer. Old Rhythm 77 Roland drum machine. Moog Liberation, Keytar back there, HS16 RS09 Roland. Great stringer for portable use and just simplicity. It's very nice and tiny. ARP 2600P, love it. Sounds great. Sounds very different than this one, which, we're talking about that one a lot, so we'll skip it. I usually don't have the key bed up like this, but I was doing some videos. TTSH, I built this. I think this is a Rev 2. Built it maybe about 7 or 8 years ago when they first came out, because I just have always wanted a 2600, and then now there's a couple more, and now there's like 100 clones out there. SP12, probably the best I would consider digital drum machine ever, as far as the EPROM based machines go, like DMX, Lindrum, drum tracks, all that kind of stuff. Not only does it sound great with the samples that are already in there, you can import your own without having to change EPROMs. SP16. These do not get enough love for modern samplers and drum machines. TR-808, not even going to talk about it. Let's see. ES1, Korg ES1. I love the Electribe series, especially the ER1 and the ES1. Hey. No. That's Oliver. And he is destroying. Look at this. Look what you did. Look what you did. Okay. Let's see. Evolver. That's a great one. Bunch of effects down here. SRE 555. Insonic DP4A1. Eventide. Other cheap stuff. Here's my... Basically, this is like a big digital interface for me. This has 32 ins, and then I have a couple of Mo2 units down there that collectively give me, I think, 48 total. TVS, the best sounding pure analog voice there is, in my opinion. Very simple, very smooth. I don't use it enough. I should use it more. CS30, these can be a bit kind of a pain in the ass, though it's a great instrument. It's just the routing and signal flow on it can get a little confusing if you haven't sat at it for a while. Sequencer's a lot of fun on it. Just a really weird, oddball synthesizer. I would love a CS15. SK30, these are great. I love how you can separate all the different sections out and then process them however you want. It makes it huge and gigantic. I've always loved these. They seem to finally be picking up some steam. Here are some drum machines, TB303 up there, MMT8, that's another really nice MIDI sequencer. A couple of other units. Got an MK1 Odyssey down there, 112 Wurlitzer, which I think was their first electric piano to come out. MG1, Korg Delta, Prodigy, Multimoog, Rhodes Chroma, could be one of the best polys ever. Kind of under the radar when it comes to like the big polys, you know, all the Oberheims and sequentials and all that stuff. I think it has the best keybed ever made. I like it better than the CS80's keybed. Aftertouch, the poly aftertouch on the CS80 is better. Just get one of these and the CPU upgrade and you're golden. Down here, this is another interesting synth. Hey, stop it. Sorry, not synth, electric piano. This is a CP60M, so it's basically like an upright version of the CP70s and CP80s, but it has MIDI, which is great. So you have a nice Yamaha action with MIDI out. Super useful. 200A Whirly, got an ARP Omni 1 down there. VP330, Isla Instruments. There's some other junk hiding down there. I think like a virus or something like that. Since we're over here, let's see. This is an Avatar, ARP Avatar. I'm told this is a prototype. I don't know if I believe it. Could be true. Maybe not. I don't know. It was a Craigslist buy. People are full of shit on there. OBSX. Currently fixing that one up. Another monopoly, not mine. Krumar Bit 1. That is a great instrument, and you should get one if you can find one. DCOs are super unique on them. I can't really think of anything else that sounds like it. Fismo. That's another weird, oddball synth, but it's definitely colorful. I know why it failed, but it's still fun. Here's just where I kind of keep stuff that I'm working on. Actually, some of these work. I've got an Emu 2 down there, Emulator 2. There's an OBXA, a couple of Jupiter 8s, Prophet 5 Rev 2, Voyager 8 VPK controller, because my Rev 2 is currently being fixed. Anything else cool in here? AX80, that's kind of interesting. Stop it. Oh, guitars. So here's a D18 from 1958, Martin. If you want it, let me know, because it's for sale. Probably my favorite stringed instrument is this Fender Bass 6 from '63, which was used and owned by Alan Holdsworth. So that's pretty sweet. Korg Lambda hiding back there. An Oasis, probably get rid of that. It's broken, that's why. Otherwise I'd probably keep it. some other cool stuff. I love Supros, Hagstroms, all that kind of baritones, you know, normal stuff. Here's my parts junk stash. And a 106 EX5, Poly 6, another Omni 2. Got some other cool stuff and that's not in the room because this is about maybe a third of my gear. Restoring a Nova cord, that's pretty sweet. Trying to think of what else is cool. A lot of electric pianos and stuff hanging around the house and in storage units. So there you have it.
Did you say a third of your gear?
Yeah, it's everywhere. Am I on this? Oh, am I on there? Okay. Just so everybody knows, I do love my dog. He's just always getting in trouble. I just felt like I was yelling at him the whole time, but here he is. He's always out. Yeah, he's a puppy, so he's lucky he's cute. Anyway,
that's why they make puppies cute, so they can get away with chewing things. That's what
exactly.
Oh my goodness! All right. Well, I think you took everyone's breath away. Yeah, we. I'm going to open the question. I'm going to open questions up to the audience shortly.
Okay.
What I do want to know is, can you give us a little demo of the 2600 of the maybe 7800, whatever, all of them, or just the blue one? Are they ready? Or
yeah, this is what you're actually hearing it right now. I don't know if you can hear that, but hold on. So right now I'm kind of running this like a almost like a poly patch. So here, I'll just use this one for now. I don't know. Can you hear that?
Oh yeah, we can hear.
Yeah, it's just like a nice background patch. If you want, I can change it, but then I'll have no background music. You know, it'd be kind of interesting to see is if I took the phone and showed people some of the differences in the panel between the original. I could probably pull that off. Hold on, let me see.
Sure. Give me a second. Let me just make sure. For some reason I lost the just you window. So let's see if I can get that back. All right. Give me 1 second.
Sure.
Bear with me, everybody. Just doing a little. Of course, can I do it? Nope, I lost Ryan. There we go. There he is.
There, am I good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So here's like the original one, right? And then here's the Blue Marvin. I think some of the most notable differences. I'll go through like the most notable ones first on the panel, then some of the more intricate ones. The first one is it does not have a fine tune slider on the filter, like this one does. See how it has the third slider there, and that's probably because if you're trying to do tracked filter patches. Sorry?
You mean in the mixer? Oh,
No, up here.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, so this has initial frequency, and then this one has initial frequency and fine tune.
Gotcha.
And resonance.
Yep.
So on this one, the fine tune, it's important for dialing in patches where you want to use the filter almost like an oscillator. And I've ran into that plenty of times on this. Another one is this one does not have multiples like the later one does. Um, and these are things that they actually changed on the Gray Meanie. By the time the Gray Meanie rolled around, they added multiples and they added uh, the fine tune. Another interesting thing is, and this has been talked about a lot, is they messed up the silk screen on all these, so they had to hand paint the um, the symbols. You can see it right there.
Yeah, that was Margaret Shepard, David Friend's wife. Uh, she's an artist, and she did the hand painting on that, believe it or not.
That's wild.
Yeah, she
That's so
did a
cool.
lot of, she designed the logos and a lot of those really cute characters that you'll see on some of the oldest brochures. Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. Another interesting thing is they used to call these microphone preamplifier, mic preamp. They got rid of that and just went to preamplifier and just preamp. There's this random hole here. I don't know if there was supposed to be a like a design change or what. So um, there's no trimmer behind that, but there's a hole for one. Don't know why. These waveforms are jumbled around, like they're just like a different uh, pattern, you know, like different patch outs for the waveforms. Um, oh, there's no lines obviously to tell where your sliders are at. They changed the silk screen up here from 10 through 10k hertz. On these, you could see that they added the silk screen for the LFO, like if you were to use it as an LFO, and that's not here. Trying to think what else. Oh, this one's fun. So you see these lines going from the slider to the little box here, like modulation sources. For some reason, it made it on VCO 1 and 2, but didn't make it here. No lines there. Not sure why. Same with the filter. There's nothing going to the panel like there is on this one, like right there and right there. Trying to think what else. There's a couple of others, but I keep, the more I look at it, like the more random little things that I notice that's just different, and they just kind of pop out at you after a while. But those are some of the main ones. Oh, and the other really interesting thing is on the back of it, there is a power. There's a Cinch Jones connector, like this. Like this one uses two, one for power, one for CV and gate. But there's another Cinch Jones for power on the back of the Blue Marvin. So it's almost like they were planning to maybe build accessories for it, like the sequencer, and to get power from the synth to power something else. Um, I'm curious to know what that was for, like what they were trying to accomplish with that. Of course, there's no power light. That's another one. Anyway, I think that's good. I think that's a good rundown. I know that there's some I'm leaving out. That's just what I can think of off the top of my head. Here, I'm going to put this back.
Sure. Well, there was a lot of things that were different. I mean, these are almost considered prototypes of what we think of now as the ARP 2600. I'm not sure if you're there. Are you there? Please. We'll be back. He'll be back. This is pretty amazing stuff, huh? There he is. Whoops.
I'm back.
We're back. We got too many of you now. Hold on. Too many of me. There we go. Okay. All right. Yeah, so a lot of the differences are also structural, of course. I mean, aside from the metal chassis, I know that when my dad wasn't fond of this structurally. He was not happy with the way the keyboard was, for instance. The keyboard, the keys it's pretty fragile. They're not really protected.
Oh yes.
And yeah, so just to back up a little bit, I don't know if a lot of people know this because I don't see people talk about it, but we have a new acronym if you don't, and it's called LCS. Does anybody in the audience know what LCS is? Let's see how nerdy we can get. Come on. LCS. So All right, nobody answered. This is great. So apparently, before it was called the 2600, one of the ideas about naming it would be called the LCS, low cost synthesizer, because the idea was to create a lower cost synthesizer from the 2500. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I had some conversations with people this week. I was trying to catch up on some of my Blue Marvin lore. Another thing that nobody could tell me why it was a blue color. However, what's really interesting, if you go and listen to some of the outtakes of Dennis Colin from Bright Sparks, and you just need to Google on search on YouTube actually, Dennis Colin Bright Sparks, and he talks a lot about blue mist that was a conception of what it must have looked like after somewhere between the Big Bang and the creation of Earth. So he talks very esoterically about a lot of things, and because Dennis Cohen was an integral part of the design team for the original for the original 2600 or the LCS. I've always wondered why that color, and that's the closest thing I can find to some analogy of blue in the conversation. So,
Yeah,
I know a lot of people that love vintage stuff love the lore behind it and the whys, and there's a lot of mysteries still surrounding this, but I thought that was kind of fun.
that's really interesting. I
Yeah.
mean, I wonder. I think your dad was right in changing the design because I don't think the ARP 2600 would have been as prominent as it was if it stayed in this format because you couldn't gig it. Like, there's no way you could go bring this thing on the road with you because it's extremely delicate. Even just moving it from like from one side of the room to the other, I'm afraid of it every single time because it's like such an ornate piece, you know.
Yeah.
And the keypad itself, like you were saying, it's the way that they construct it and the way that they fit all these metal pieces together to build the the case for the keypad is extremely intricate, and it seems like it's like kind of a for servicing purposes it's really difficult,
Yeah.
um, and internally too there's a lot of differences. What the biggest change between the two as far as sound goes is from the Teledyne op amps in it. But it's a lot more. This one is it's a lot more sensitive to where you put how you mix things into the different stages of the synth. It clips out a lot easier, so you got to run everything about halfway up the slider throw versus the later ones, and all the traces inside to all the sliders were hand wired, so they're just wired wrapped around uh, from one post to another, and that's how the whole board is. So removing all those sliders and repairing them was pretty difficult. I've never seen a construction like that before. It was very much hand built.
Well, this leads into one of the first questions, and that is by Todd Murray. How many original parts did you need to acquire for the restoration?
That's a good question. For the most part, I all of it is original. Except for the sample and hold. The sample and hold module is sourced from Rosen Sound. He has a great clone of the sample and hold. Everything else has the original modules in it, like the VCOs. I think we're only using this one, in the gray Meanie, which are I think the 411 VCOs. As far as parts go, there was only one op amp I needed to change, and I recapped it, so I replaced all the tantalums with other tantalums. I didn't use electrolytic for those, and then I took every single slider off the boards and took them all apart and cleaned them out because you couldn't even move the sliders; they were just frozen solid. I'm trying to think of what else. I do know that I just found this problem in the last couple of days when I was trying to do some patch sheets as examples for this live event. There's a problem with my ring modulator on it. So I think it's in the module. I'm probably gonna have to replace that module with a kit or a DIY version. Um, and the hard thing about these are unlike the later ones, like the gray one.
Yeah. Oh, come back. Come back.
I tried everything, lighting it on fire, boiling it, acid. I've tried as much as I could throw at it, and I could not depot the module. So whatever they did at the beginning, it's crazy. They did a good job keeping those uh, circuits a secret. So
We got a question from Allie.
does
Hey,
that answer the
Allie. Alice
question?
Cassidy. Tell us about the op amps inside. I recall they're different. I'm not sure if what you just said covers that, but you're freezing a little, Ryan.
Sorry, can you repeat that? I didn't hear it.
Sure, tell us a little bit about the op amps inside. I recall they're different, says Allie.
Oh yeah, they're Teledyne op amps, which are just a higher quality op amp. They switched to LM301s on the later units. The LM301s are a lot cheaper and they're a lot more robust. They don't break as easily as the Teledynes, and they're also a lot easier to find, and you could buy them a lot more in bulk. So it was a good design choice as far as like manufacturing and servicing. Uh, Unfortunately, it did cut off the high fidelity of the instrument a little bit in my mind. It made it a little bit more. It's a little bit like darker. Um, I guess muddier is what a lot of people say, but it's this one really does sound like a hi-fi version of a classic 2600. And I know that there's people today that Phil being one of the guys that will swap out the LM 301s for a higher quality op amp to be more in line with the original design. Um, but you know what? Having them side by side, they're both great for different things. Like this one's really good at. They're both good at mainly the same things, but just the color's a little bit different. I also think that the op amps are the reason why, or partially why, this clips a lot easier and why it's a lot more sensitive to levels, to leveling. So um, I do think that as they built the later model, they made a lot of revisions that definitely helped the instrument from a usability standpoint. Even if the quality of the sound degraded a little bit because of it.
Cool. Hey, Synth Addict. Okay. Question. I imagine Ryan uses a lot of dust covers. At least I hope so for all that valuable gear.
No, no dust covers.
No, it
There's
doesn't
no
rain in
way
Southern.
I'm running in here and pulling dust covers and putting them on every day. No, I use here. I'll show you what. There you go.
So you
I
go
just
in
dusted them off today.
and
Yeah,
clean the beauties every day.
yeah. This was a $1 brush from Daiso. So it's just make sure it doesn't scratch the surface. It's got to be nice,
Soft.
nice bristles.
All right, cool. Todd Murray says massive slew rate on the Teledynes. So with these Teledyne op amps, were they now my probably you all know that my dad worked for Teledyne, or actually
Hmm.
yeah, or he sold Nexus to Teledyne. Were they was that their original intention for use? Did they modify them for? This is a question I actually don't know, and I probably need to know this. Did they modify the op amps for use in the Blue Meanie, Blue Marvin?
Not that I know of. I mean, I don't think so. They're can they're can op amps. They're not like dips like later LM301s. But I don't think they did any modifications to it.
Hmm. Okay. All right.
I could be wrong. If Phil's a good guy to send those kind of questions to as well.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've been in touch with him recently. I will
I'm sure he
actually.
doesn't want.
Um, cool. So we have some suggestions here. Somebody puts white towels on their equipment. Looks like looks like a scene out of THX 1138. Okay. Um, so more questions. I'm extending this a little bit because I knew there was going to be a lot of questions, and this is such a rarity. So we have time for some more questions. Love to hear them.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
You know, in meantime, maybe I have, what did I put on here? The delayed, you had a little patch with something delayed. I can't remember what it was, BM delayed. Let's just play that.
Yeah, I don't know. I tried to get some stuff together, and then I ended up just taking the instrument apart last night, trying to get more patches and things for you today, but
Oh,
it was giving me some trouble.
let me play this one. Fun.
Oh, yawn. Oh, putting myself to sleep with that. Yeah.
Fun. Great. Actually, some questions have come up. Yes, yes, yes. Ah, have you ever used a 2500?
Um, I've used a wing of a 2500. I helped a friend. Someone came to me with one that needed work, and they came to me asking me if I was interested in it. And I was, but at the same time, I wasn't just because of the price. So I helped my friend acquire it, and it was just a wing cabinet. It was just a wing cabinet. It had a VCO, a sequencer. I think I'm trying to remember what a couple other modules in it, and I had it for a couple weeks, but then I got COVID like 2 or 3 days after I got the instrument, and then I was sick for the time that I had it here, and then I was so bummed out. But yeah, I got a couple days with that wing, and it's fantastic. It's a really it that literally feels like lab equipment. I mean, and that's probably kind of how it was, but very much lab equipment, very high quality. Yeah, great instrument.
So sound wise, how did it compare? Can you compare?
I didn't have enough time with it to
You didn't have
compare it.
enough time. That's a
Yeah, it's
shame.
and I never really hooked it up to my recording rig to record, a live signal from it. I just had it hooked up to an amp, so I didn't have them side by side, and I didn't have the Blue Marvin at the time, just the standard 2600. Definitely in the same family though.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm making these connections myself, but I feel like there is more of a family feel between the early 2500s and the 20s and the I'm sorry, early 2600s and the 2500. But it's been pointed out again and again that listening to a synthesizer now it's really hard to compare to how the synthesizer was originally intended. Things have changed, conditions change, temperature
Yep.
changes, modifications made. It's hard. There's hello, Bill Miller. Yes. People really love that. That's really great. All right, here a couple more questions, and then we're going to wrap it up. Oh, hello, David Van Pelt, all the way from down under. So it must be pretty darn early right there right now. It's about 8 in the morning tomorrow. So he wants to know, what are your favorite effects to use with your 2600?
Um, Here, I'll show you. Echoplex. That's the one. Well, it works great with anything from the 70s. A lot of guitarists use it too, but that's my favorite delay. Sounds fantastic. As far as rack gear goes, I really like the Corgay one, even though that's more of a 90s reverb. I had an AMS RMX 16 for a while. That was a great reverb. Um, but you know what? You know what I actually use the most is the Hala plugins. Like um, their delay, their room reverb, both of those are great, and I use those on a lot of instruments, just not the 2600.
Wow. All right. We are getting close to wrapping it up. Let's we have time if one more question, and then I think they're mesmerized is what I could say. Absolutely mesmerized. Yeah. As I am for sure. I'm trying to think if there's any other 2600 lore that I can think of. Um, I one of the things that I would like to see is, and I don't usually say these things, um, but there are people making remakes of the official ARP, and it would be great to see a blue special edition. Anyway,
Yes.
yeah,
You know what's
yeah.
you know what's funny about that is with this one, no one realizes what it is. They actually think it's the remake that's called the Blue Meanie, because it's the same color and everything, and I don't think a lot of people make the connection of to the history of the 2600 itself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Delta. Delta Sign is here. He came and had a great time with the Blue Meanie at Synthplex. I don't know if you were there at the time. He wants to know if you have a favorite compressor or EQ.
Um. No, not really. I don't have one that really screams to me to use. Uh, I mainly use effects for compressors. I need more effects. I need more outboard effects. My recording rig does not match the quality of the instruments going through them, which is something
Oh,
I'm trying to fix.
okay. All right. Uh, so Allie says the Blue Marvin color is greater than the PPG wave color. I won't fight you, but what about third wave? They got pretty
Third
close.
wave, I oh, as far as the color,
Yeah,
I
we just
like I like I like this one. It's like a more of like a neon baby blue. It's not as dark as like the PPGs. It's vibrant. It's a nice vibrant color. It's actually a really unique blue. I can't really think of anything else besides like cars. A lot of '60s cars had a similar type blue,
it's really, yeah, it's really its own thing. I mean,
yeah,
they got it down
for sure.
here.
That's a great picture. I
It
like
is
that
a
one.
great picture. Oh, so what do you all think? Should we get a poster of this going? If I know some of you have purchased our G clay prints, which are absolutely beautiful. So we're thinking of introducing this. If you think, please send us and a little note. Alrighty. So just because it's my job, I'm just gonna. Whoops. I'm gonna do one more little uh, play for donations. Okay. Again, the money goes to our ARPS for All project. We just received a couple more synthesizers. We need to get our Avatar and one of our Odysseys fixed. And here's the link right here. Um, and just as times are tough for all of us. Some people are doing $5 a month donations, which is a monthly thing, and we find that actually that really helps uh, pay the bills. So hopefully, this is something we can manage. You are all regular supporters. I know most of you. If you are new, please like our page. It really helps us in the monetization process. So give the page a like, give the channel a like, and all that good stuff. I just want to bring in Ryan one more time. You wanted to talk about sample packs before we go?
Oh, yeah. I was thinking about maybe doing a sample pack of the Blue Marvin and just giving it away. Maybe 10 to 20 patches. Um, just because it's an interesting thing. I think it'd be a nice thing for people to have with them, where it's like a sound that came from this unique thing. So, um, I guess offline, you and I can talk about how to give that out to people or how to even create it because I haven't started on it yet. But yeah, that's something that I think would people would like. You know,
Lovely.
what do you think?
I think that would be great. I would think that would be great. I
Yeah.
mean, there is a more delicate sound. I think that's what I hear. That's reminds me of the 2500. There's a an almost delicacy, which I know how we say that when we're emulating sounds of trains, but there's maybe what you said before, a sensitivity that may not be as acute in later models, and it's just an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous instrument, and we're so grateful for you bringing this to our foundation event and to this live stream. So I just want to thank you. Oh my goodness, all these great
Happy
people
to do
coming
it.
in. All right. So please, if you just came in, this will be immediately on replay. We do have a little outro, which I think is worth hearing. It's the 70s patch that you made, which I think is lovely, and I put most of it there. And like that. So thank you, thank you, thank you, Ryan. And is Oliver there?
Uh, we have a stand in this time.
Okay.
I know the whole gang. The whole gang's here. Oliver's down there too.
Right. Wonderful. All
Yeah.
righty, great. Todd, I like his thinking. Okay, we're gonna work. Go ahead and send me a message, and I think we'll work on something like that. Thank you to everybody, and